Okay, so here is a sample of what I was working on for just a version of this project. So I actually changed the background from white to green, and then I have the yellow, I have the blue, I have the pink, and the brownish kind of red color. And once again, if I wanted to change the color, let's say I wanted this brown to change, I click on layer 3, I hit Command U, and then I can change just the hue of the one color. And it's kind of nice to be able to isolate, so that way I can change the colors a bit individually. But let's say that I wanted to add, play around with some different kinds of brushes, because if you notice, the brush that I used was just a hard brush for a majority of these things, actually for all of these, and I was just changing the size. So if you wanted to explore brushes, I'm just making everything invisible so I have kind of like a clean palette. I'm going to make a new layer, and what you can do is you can actually download brushes if you just decide that nothing here kind of fits with anything that you want to do, you know, no matter how interesting these things might be. If you decide that a brush isn't going to be working for you like this, then you can certainly download other brushes and try them out. But you know, I would tell you to encourage you to explore the different settings that you can do. But let's say that you wanted to select a brush from a different type of brush. What you can do is you can go to Google and you can literally type in download brushes and Photoshop. And there's different websites. There's Brush Easy that I use. There's one called myphotobrushes.com, and then there's another one that I was using quite a bit. I think it was something about my Photoshop brushes. But as you look around, a lot of websites have their brushes, but we'll start with Brush Easy. Okay, some are free, some aren't. So if you see the banner that says premium, that means that they're not going to be free. So let's say that you wanted something like brush strokes, and you can certainly go ahead and look up paint strokes, let's say. And you can see that there's some that are premium, but some that aren't. So this one looks kind of cool. So if you find one that you like, click on it, hit free download. It's going to show up at your footer. Okay, it is a zip drive. So just like this should seem kind of similar to what we were doing when we were downloading fonts. Basically going to bring the zip drive out onto your desktop. And we're going to unzip it. The type of file for a brush is known as an ABR. So once you see the ABR, just keep note of where you're putting it. You could put it in your graphic design folder. You could put it in your toy box if you want. But for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to keep it on my desktop for now. So once you're in Photoshop now, you're going to click on the folder. Make sure that you have the window here for brushes. You see this little stacked lines here. Click on it. You're going to go to Import Brushes. And this is where you got to remember where you put them. And you're going to just open up the ABR. And there's your brushes. Now you should have a new folder built up here. And here they are. It's the painted brushes. So you can see now we have another folder. And these are the ones. So if you wanted to try these out as brushes, see if you like them, you can certainly do that. So that's one way you can download a brush. Now another thing you can do, if you even wanted to personalize it even more, is that you can make your own brush. To do that, you go to File, New. This is going to be a very, very small file. Make it 1 inch by 1 inch. 150 pixels per inch. So it's only going to be an image that's 150 by 150. You got to be working with black as your color, and you're going to put like a picture on there. I'm going to hit Command 0 to get this to fit nice and large on the screen, and use, you know, kind of a plainer brush. So I'm just going to go into General. You also want to make sure that the size of the brush is small enough so you can work with it. So it's got to be black and white, and you can see all the little pixels because it is such a small, tiny, tiny little image. So you can just fill this in. You don't have to have it all filled in. If you want it to look really, really textured, you can go with a tiny little brush like this. So just want to have a little bit of an edge. You don't want to go all the way to the edge of the paper either. You can also use the eraser in conjunction with the brush. So I'm going to take a little break, pause it, restart it after I make something that I really like. Okay, so I think I like that. This is what the brush stroke's going to look like from a distance. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Edit, and we're going to go to Define Brush Preset. So you can see here's a little sample of it, and we're calling it Sampled Brush. If you want to call it anything that you want, Hairy Brush, say OK. So when you go back to your master copy and you go to making a new layer ready to brush, you should have the preset there already. You can see there's your brush. So you have your own. Where will it be located so you can find it again? Well, it'll be, if you go to the library over here where you have brushes, you can get there by clicking on the folder and going to brushes. And it looks like it is separate from any of the other folders. Here's my general dry media. It looks as though it's all by itself. And I mean, if you wanted to drag it into one of the other brush folders, you certainly can do that, unless you want to let it hang there by itself. If you're not happy with it, you can also drag it into the trash can if you want, but I think I'm going to keep that one. All right, so you can download brushes or make your own.